Now, even if you don't think of yourself as a sales queen right now, by the time you've listened to this episode, you will be a sales queen, because this episode is all about sales objections. And I know that these feel excruciating when they happen, especially if you're on a sales call. And so you've got to handle the objection face to face. Maybe a little bit easier for you to handle an objection in the DMs, whether that's voice note or message, just because you're not physically sat there present with the person. My background in sales is face-to-face sales, and sometimes that was stood on my feet in a boardroom presenting to a room of 10 to 15 middle-aged white men in suits who did not want to buy from me, okay? They knew that they had to buy, but they didn't want to buy. And so my experience of handling sales objections is I've had to do it the hard way. Stood at the front of a boardroom, delivering my PowerPoint presentation, waiting for the clever dick in the audience to literally try to tear me down. And I had to hold my nerve and recall the stats that I just presented and be able to create a logical, a feasible, a stand-up argument to show them that they needed to move forward with the sale, or, the contract in my case. And so I'm highly experienced at handling sales objections, and I've got to the point now where people say to me, especially after they've given me an objection, like, you don't even feel like you're selling. I don't even feel like I've been sold to. And that comes with experience, okay? That comes with knowing how to hold somebody, how to support somebody through a sales conversation, okay? So even if you are coming at this as a beginner, if you've never handled a sales objection before, what I'm about to share with you is really going to help you, really going to help you. And because I want to help you in the best possible way, rather than me just spouting out a load of scripts to you, which, let's face it, right now you're probably walking the dog, hoovering the house, maybe you're in the car, you're not in a position to sit and make notes. And I know that because so many of our listeners tell me that. So what I've done is I've actually turned what I'm about to share with you into a Google document. Okay, a really straightforward Google document. I'm looking at it now on my phone, and you've got 6 objections on the Google document, and you've got another page with some like power closing phrases. Okay, so I'm going to try and go through this, turn this into a podcast episode for you. But the way that I know that you would probably prefer to consume this information from me is by reading the Google Doc. And so the best way that you can get your hands on that is to head straight over to my Instagram. Obviously not right now, because you want to be listening to the show right now. And that's exactly what I want you to be doing as well. I want you to listen to this episode, but then know that you can go and grab this exact document. You just need to comment in my DM. So go to my Instagram, open up a DM, and just put the word playbook. Okay, one word, no gaps, no hyphens, just playbook. Okay, just comment the word playbook, and my Instagram automation will serve this document to you. Okay, it's a very valuable document, but I'm giving it to you completely complimentary because, I want to share this with you here verbally, but I also know that if it was me, I'd prefer to read it. Okay, so let's get into it. What is a sales objection? Okay, so a sales objection is where your customer, your potential new customer, has received your pitch, they've heard your sales invitation, but they're not ready to say yes. Okay, so a sales objection could sound like the ones I've given you on the document are: I can't afford it, I need to think about it, I don't have time, I'm not sure it will work for me, can I just DIY this and get the result myself? Yeah, they are the most common objections. Yeah, they are the most common. What I know, when I ask the girls who are in group programs and group coaching containers with me, what's the number one objection they fear the most? It's the I can't afford it. Yeah, and it feels that to handle that objection feels like very personal, because you're making comments about somebody's affordability, like how much money somebody's got. And so that does feel very personal, and it is personal, but it's not impossible to handle it. Now, what you're trying to do with objections is manage a lot of emotion, right? Yours and theirs, right? Yours and theirs. Because I know when you hear an objection, you feel the emotion of, oh, they don't love me, they don't want me, I'm rejected. Yeah. So you're feeling emotional, but they're also feeling emotional, right? Because they're thinking, oh, what's she going to think? Is she going to think I've wasted her time? Is this going to be embarrassing? When I have to tell her that I don't have the money for this, it's going to feel embarrassing. So there's a lot of emotion around objections. And so your job is to manage your emotion and support your clients so that you can manage theirs too. Okay. And navigate them through the decision. Now, what is going to make somebody say yes after they've already said no? Well, this is the really clever bit, because a lot of people in sales think that sales objections are about just persuading or convincing or coming up with an argument that pushes them into the corner and makes them have to say yes. It's not about that at all. If you are going to get really good at handling sales objections, it's going to be because you help to make somebody feel safe. Okay? Buyers buy when they see that your solution solves the problem that they have, right? That is when buyers buy. When the problem that they have feels urgent enough, feels important enough, feels big enough, feels scary enough to not fix, when their problem feels big enough, they will buy your offer, as long as you have presented your offer as a solution, right? Your solution, your offer, your program, your retainer, your service, whatever it is that you sell, has to be positioned as the only route to the solution. Okay? So where they are today, they have a problem. That problem creates a feeling of pain, a feeling of frustration, a feeling of overwhelm. The only thing that's going to make them say yes to your offer is when they feel safe and certain that your offer is the solution that they need. Yeah. And what's going to make them feel safe and certain is safety in the return on investment. Yeah. So a feeling of reassurance that they're in safe hands, a feeling of absolute certainty that the process that you will take them through, the methodology that you will share with them, the system that you will give them has been proven time and time again that they are not your first rodeo. Yeah. They are not your guinea pig. They are not the test case, that they are buying into something that makes them feel reassured, that their frustration will turn to delight. Yeah, that their pain will turn to euphoria, will turn to celebration. Okay. And that is the same for every single problem. It doesn't matter whether you are a mindset coach selling confidence, or a health coach selling weight loss, or a menopause coach helping somebody to navigate menopause. It doesn't matter. It does not matter if you are a web designer selling a website, if you are a social media manager selling a retainer, a VA selling a package of 20 hours a week. Okay. This process is the same regardless. Yeah, you will be more successful at sales, at navigating objections, when you can position your offer powerfully as a solution to help somebody navigate from feeling stuck to feeling that their problem has been solved. Yeah. So let's get into these scripts. And like I say, all you need to do to get your hands on these is drop into my Instagram DMs with the word playbook. And I will, of course, then send you this. Okay, so let's tap on the first page. Right, so the first objection is the juiciest. Let's start off with the hardest one. I can't afford it right now. So there's a bit of a reframe here for you, which is that money objections are rarely about the actual money. So just because somebody says, I can't afford it, and that sounds like it's about money, it's not always about money. Sometimes it's about perceived value. They don't perceive the value is high enough. They don't see that what you're helping them with is a big enough priority. So let's say what you sell costs £5,000. To say yes, somebody has to see that the value of what they get back is worth at least £5,000. Now, I always work on a 3 times ROI. So if I'm selling a program for £5,000, I need to believe in my heart of hearts that I am going to help that person get a 3 times ROI, so make 15,000. Yeah. Now, if somebody comes to me and says, Rachel, I want to spend 5 grand with you and my offer is £27, can we work together? I would say no, because I cannot see how they would get a return on investment for 5K from selling something that's £27. Okay. So think about that for your own offers and what you sell. Can you show up with an energy of absolute faith and certainty that you can help somebody get their money back? Yeah. And people don't just want their money back. They want a return. Yeah. Business is about profit. It's about investing. So somebody's going to invest 5K. They don't just want 5K back because they haven't got more than they had before. They would have to go and do a whole load of work and all they've got back is what they had before. Nobody wants that. You spend 5K to make 10K. You spend 5K to make 50K. Yeah. You spend 5K to make 100K. Okay. So let's reframe that the I can't afford it objection is not always about money. It sounds like it is, but it isn't always. Okay. Just going to have a sip of my drink. This could be podcast suicide, drinking a Diet Coke whilst I've got a microphone on. I really hope that I don't make any funny sounds for you. Okay, let's get into it. So I'm now going to read you through the call conversation script. So you might say something like, when they say I can't afford it, you might say, I hear you. Okay, I hear you. And so that's just acknowledging. That's acknowledging what they've said. I hear you. And honestly, most women I work with have felt the same way at first. So that's literally not coming at them with the yes, but. It's not coming at them with an energy of convince or persuade or try to tell them that they're wrong or, say, well, just go get a credit card. Yeah, it's being caring and loving and giving an energy of acknowledgement and reassurance that I hear you. Okay, so you would say, I hear you, and honestly, most women I work with have felt the same way at first. Can I ask you, though, if money wasn't the issue, is this the program you'd want to move forward with? And obviously, what that's going to do is sidestep the money and just pacify you and them on whether or not this is the right program. Is it actually the right offer? Have you presented them the right solution? If they say yes, you would say, great. So what that tells me is it's not about whether this will work. It's about finding a way to make it possible for you financially. Can I share how other clients in your exact shoes have done that? Okay. And then, of course, they're going to say, yeah, okay, tell me how. And you're going to share a client example. You may point them to a payment plan. You might even highlight the cost of not solving it. So you might say, have you thought about if you don't fix this now, what it might look like 6 months from now? What's the cost of doing nothing? Okay, that's always a really good question to ask. Okay. And then some final pointers that you could say is, I want you to know this isn't about throwing money away. It's about investing in getting to whatever their desired result is faster without all the second guessing and spinning your wheels. How does that feel? Yeah. So you always want to be asking, how does that sound? How does that feel? How would that look for you? Can you imagine that, that happening? Okay. If you were doing this in the DMs, you have on this sheet got a DM script as well, but I'm not going to read all of this out because we do not want to be here on this episode for 3 hours, okay? So that is objection number 1, I can't afford it. And like I say, you've got the DM script. Then we've got objection number 2, I need to think about it, okay? Now, the call script sounds like this. Of course you do. Yeah, of course you need to think about it. Making a decision like this is important and it deserves thought. Just so I can support you best, what is the number 1 thing you feel you need to get clear on before you could say yes? Yeah, so it's like, again, reassuring them, acknowledging what they've said, and then asking them what is the number 1 thing they need to get clear on. And then let them share. Yeah, let them just take the conversation wherever they want to. Your job in that is to listen. Yeah, one of the biggest skill sets of a great salesperson is listening, okay? Actively listening. And then you want to coach them towards clarity. So if they feel like maybe they've got a confused idea of what the next steps would be or how they could get to the result that they wanted, you need to coach them to a place where they become clear and then recap what it is that they said that they wanted. So if they said, I really want to feel refreshed in the morning and get 8 hours sleep. They're struggling to sleep. You're a sleep coach. And they say the number one thing for me is I want to get at least 7 hours a night. And at the minute, I'm barely getting past 5. Yeah, if that's the problem, you might say, well, how's life going to look if you carry on getting 5 hours sleep a night for the next 3 months? How are you going to feel every day? Well, the answer is obviously they're going to feel crap. And so then they would say, well, I cannot live like that. I cannot put up with that. And so when you're in your content using, like the pain and the description of how the pain point feels, you would describe that feeling of exhaustion, that feeling of waking up in the morning, like feeling that getting through the day is unbearable. And so all those things are going to come out on the call. You would ask them to tell you, well, how's that going to look if you don't manage to fix your sleep and overcome the thing that is causing you to struggle with your sleep? And then when you position your support as their sleep coach, you of course need to pacify and reassure and build your conversation around the fact of, well, this is how I'm going to help you to get that 7 hours, 8 hours a night that you want. That's going to help you to get through the day and not feel as exhausted as you feel right now. So when they're saying things like, oh, I need to think about it, they don't need to think about it. They're desperate for sleep. They want it right now. It's the fear of saying yes that's making them say that they need to think about it. So when you direct their mind towards clarity, towards getting clear on the fact that they cannot live another day without enough sleep, you are taking them towards the yes. You're making it feel really easy for them to say, do you know what, you're absolutely right. I need to fix this now. This is urgent, okay? So something else that you might say would be, sometimes thinking about it really means that you're not fully certain. Would it help if I showed you how this offer, program, whatever it is, directly leads to you getting more than 7 hours sleep a night? Do you want to hear how my client Sarah did it? She was in your exact shoes. She was only getting 5 hours a night. And together we did XYZ, or together we followed my framework. And now she's bouncing around like a spring lamb because she now gets 8 hours a night. Yeah. So I need to think about it again, is sometimes a bit of a smokescreen. Yeah, because if their problem is big enough, there isn't anything to think about. It's just that you have to coach them towards clarity, okay, towards that decision that they need to feel good about making, okay? I hope this is helpful, people. I hope you are loving this. So let's do the third one, and then I won't do any more because we're already at the 18-minute point, and I always like our episodes to come in under 20 minutes. So let's see if I can rattle through this. So objection 3, I need to talk to my partner. I'm sure that you have heard that before. And so you've got a DM script on this document, but let's go through the call script. So you would say something like, I completely respect that. Okay. So the thing that all these scripts have in common is the acknowledgement piece. That's really, really important. I completely respect that. Can I share something with you though? And that's a question. And you wait for them to say yes, because that's called permission selling. Okay. You're not just throwing it down their throat. You are waiting for permission and then moving forward. Can I share something with you though? They will say yes. And you will say, most of my clients' partners actually want them to have this support, because when you're thriving, the whole family benefits. Yeah. Or it could be, most of my clients' partners want them to have this support because they know how important your business is to you. They know how important it is that you create the success that you crave, that you create the impact for your clients that you want. Yeah. When you're thriving, the whole family benefits. Or when your business is doing well, the whole family feeds off your happiness. Yeah. Or when your business is doing well, the whole family can go on a holiday because we're more financially affluent. Yeah. So think about what that might sound like for you. And then you could say, how about we map out the transformation together right now so that you feel confident explaining exactly how this is going to help you to create and whatever the result is. Okay. So you basically stay on the call, you get their permission, because this is a question. How about we do this? Yes. Does that feel good? How about we map out exactly what steps we're going to take together so that you feel really confident that we are going to create this transformation together? Because I know that you want to feel safe that you're going to get a return on investment, and you are going to feel safe once you see exactly what process we're going to go through. Does that sound good? Should we do that now? You get their permission, and then of course you do it. And that way you get the sale back. Yeah, you're way more likely to get a yes at the end of that call. Okay. So we have gone through, I've just lost the document. Rachel, we have just gone through, here we go. I can't afford it right now. I need to think about it, and I need to talk to my partner. Okay. There are other objections on this sheet, which is I don't have time. I'm not sure it will work for me. And the final one, can I just DIY it? And you're also going to get, let's just tap on this, the power closing phrases. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 power phrases. Okay. These are little one-liners that will really, really help you to support your client. I think support is the best word in sales, because you're not pushing, you're not persuading, it's empowering. Yeah, closing phrases that activate a feeling of empowerment so that the person that you're on the call with or in the DMs with can feel relaxed about saying yes. Their nervous system feels good. Yeah, buyer's remorse is real, right? I've had buyer's remorse where you make an investment and then you wake up the next day and go, oh, what did I do that for? Yeah, we all know that that feeling is a real feeling. And so what your buyer wants to do is feel reassured. They want to feel held. They want to feel supported. Okay. But let's not make this, boring and just make it about, expecting them to be scared, because they might not be scared. So don't go into it thinking that this potential new client is always going to be scared, because sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're very, very activated by your content. And the more spicy and potent your content is, the more activated they will be. I've literally had somebody drop into my DMs before and book a VIP day within minutes, paid in full, because they were very, very activated to work with me. Okay. So don't go into it thinking everybody feels scared, because they don't. And the more you can share potent, activating, real fire content, the more ready they will be to say yes. Okay. So come and get your Sales Objection Playbook. Just write the word playbook in my DMs over on Instagram, and you will get this Google document delivered in the DMs to you so that you can open it up and use all of these scripts to get more sales over the line, make more money in your business, and never feel stuck when an objection is presented to you again. Thank you so, so much for being here. I really appreciate, especially if you are a returning lister, especially if you have subscribed to the YouTube channel, especially if you have left a review and shared this with your business besties. I really, really do appreciate you being here and helping me to get the message out there so that we can create more online sales queens together. So I will see you next week for another episode. Once again, thank you so much for being here.